everybody, it's Ivy. How are you? Whew. It's been a long week again. I got the craziest life. Anyway, in the background you listen to the OJ's Survival of the Fittest. Yeah, it ain't no joke when a man is broke, busted, walking around broke. Anyway, speaking of survival, let me tell you what happened this week. Hold on there, OJs. I'll be with you in just a minute. So anyway, this week was heavy. I told you about the primary the last time. And a friend of mine and I also went to see a private screening and discussion of 13, the documentary, I think it is. Okay, so we went to see that. I had already viewed it before, just briefly, not for a very long time, but because I don't really sit still. But this was at a movie in Pelham here in Westchester County, and so I went to see it. And then they had a discussion afterwards. Anyway, one of the things about this documentary, it can make you feel a certain kind of way. And me being from Birmingham, Alabama, and living in the same neighborhood as Angela Davis, my sister's friend Carol being killed in the 16th Street bombing of the church. We woke up the next day and stuff was everywhere, but we at the time didn't know that Carol had been one of the girls that was killed. My sister and Angela both played with those girls. Anyway, it was a very trying time. I never wanted anyone to know I was from Birmingham because there was so much hatred there, but boop, here I am up south, where there's just as much hatred of people with this complexion as it was there. So and that's really unfortunate because I don't get it. I didn't get it then, and I still don't get it now. I really don't understand that kind of hatred, that kind of fear, because there really are only two emotions. That's love and fear. And like I said before in a previous video, that everything from jealousy to anger to hatred to animosity, envy, all of that stuff falls under fear, because you're always afraid that somebody's going to get something anyway that you won't get, or that you have, and they're going to take it away from you. So all of it is just a waste of energy and time. But it was rough. The dogs, the German Shepherd dogs. I couldn't pet a German Shepherd dog until I was like 25 years old, because those dogs were vicious and they trained them to attack us all the time. The children were really the unsung heroes, because and the DJs were fabulous. Oh my goodness, I remember Tall Paul. I remember Shelly the Playboy, who my nickname is after. They gave us the clues of what to do. That's why I love music to this day, because those DJs were extremely important to us. We didn't have email. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have, Facebook. We didn't have any of those things. We just had communication. That's what we did. We talked to each other. We were let out of school so that we could go and protest, because clearly the parents couldn't do it. Why would the parents do it? They have to keep a roof over everybody's head. But there was a time when 4,000 children got arrested. The youngest one was 4 years old. All right. And that you actually looked forward to being arrested, because, you were there for a cause. Martin Luther King asked who could help, and only the children at the 16th Street Baptist Church stood up to help, because the adults could not. They worked for a lot of the white people, and once they're in jail, then who's going to take care of the kids, right? Anyway, it brought back some memories. And so when people wonder why I behave the way I do, or why I act the way I do, or why I'm so passionate about certain things, when you grow up in Birmingham, Alabama, you don't need to ask any questions. Some people just say, oh, you're from Birmingham? Got it. So any kind of racial hatred coming from, people of the other race, if you will, kind of gets to you. It sends you right back to where you were when you were a kid and you were being tormented. And guns, you had to keep a gun in your house when you were in Birmingham. You better have a gun, and the kids better know how to use it too. You didn't want to, but it was clearly for protection, because they were always coming to pull us out of our homes all the time. They would be burning. And I remember my mother and my grandmother and my aunt just standing in the screen door. I must have been about 4 years old, running and just watching those trees burn in the neighborhood. My mother carrying me through a fire the next morning where they had burned the neighborhood, and we must have been coming in. Either she was carrying me because we were leaving the house, and we were looking, and it was still smoldering. The houses were still smoldering. So when I think about a war that America did to its own people, yeah, I feel a certain way about certain things, and it's just who I am, and I don't try to make any excuses for it. It's my experience, it's my trauma, what I went through, so I don't expect anybody else. I don't try to take anybody else's away, but you don't forget. I don't care how young you are, you don't forget why you had to sleep on the floor so that you wouldn't get shot by a bullet, that the police, Bull Connor, and all of this nonsense, this. Anyway, so again, 13, the documentary, you might want to go see it. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you hold yourselves together, because the prison industrial industry talks about how many blacks in this new slavery. All I can say, Black people, please, pull yourself together. You can't keep letting Mr. Charlie and Miss Loretta keep pulling you apart like that. And I'm not saying every single white person is like that. You have really good white people too, but the ones that are really trying to put their foot on your neck between the drugs and the fighting and the shooting and killing of each other, and the drugs that are just making you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And they talk about heroin. Listen to James Brown's King Heroin from back in the day, from the 60s or the 70s. Just Google it, King Heroin, and listen carefully to the words of King Heroin. James Brown is wrapping it down, because when it was in our community, nobody really cared. Now all of a sudden it's an epidemic and everybody's panicking. They got pins now that'll shoot you back to life, if the children OD. It's been around for a very long time. Heroin is not a new drug. It's an old drug that's come back to haunt the other group. Anyway, I won't go on about that, but listen, people, honestly, we need to get it together, okay? We need to get it together. We need to do more reading. This prison industrial system, the prison system, we incarcerate more people today than we had back in the slavery in 18, God only knows what, 65 or whatever it was. Do some reading, do some research. That's all I'm saying. The other thing I want to say, another friend and I went to Empire City last night. And we wanted to go see the Whitney Houston. They did a Whitney Houston tribute. They had a Whitney Houston tribute. And the girl who sang was absolutely marvelous. She really was. She didn't look anything like Whitney Houston, but she was a good singer. She did pretty well. I was concerned about her drinking cold drinks, though, for the vocal cords, because as a person who used to sing. But anyway, she was wonderful. But here's what happened. So my friend and I, my girlfriend and I, we go. She asked me, she picks me up, we go. But people like to save seats when they go to Empire City. And they like to sit like right in the front. So people leave there, they'll leave a jacket, they'll leave a scarf, they'll leave something there to say somebody's sitting here. Okay, fine. If you're sitting there, you're sitting there. But if the thing has been there for an hour and nobody has returned, you're going to kind of wonder. So first we try to be patient and we sit at the bar. I'm not a bar sitter because I'm not a drinker really. So, and the pole is there so you can't see. Anyway, long story short, there's a guard there pretty mean. I think he's from Africa. But, you know, he growls at everybody, you know. So my friend was trying to get his attention. And she said, you know, all these seats here, she's pretty outspoken. All these seats here are saved and there's no place for people to sit. So he said, no, remove them. Remove the whatever their possessions are and put it on the table and sit in the seats. So my friend, of course, did just that. So she said, come on, Ivy, let's go sit over here. So we sit. As soon as we sit down, now remind you, there's not a lot of chocolate chip in the milk there, if you get my drift. So these people turned around and they said, excuse me, but somebody's sitting there? And so we were like, yeah, but the guard just told us, you know, we could move this stuff because they haven't been back, so we're sitting here. They didn't give us any more trouble. They might have said something to each other. It was a man and a woman. So then about 5 minutes later, I'm writing in my book because I want to take some notes on some stuff and I'm trying to work on this case, you know, and, you know, so wherever I go, I'm doing multitasking, you know, I'm doing more than one thing at a time. Anyway, this couple comes over and they said, it's the way they said it. Excuse me, but those are our seats. And so we said, well, you know, my friend said, you know, well, the guard told us to remove this because, you know, you can't save seats. You know, you don't buy a seat here. You know, you're not paying for anything. You're here. It's a free show. You know, first come, first serve, whoever gets a seat. She says, well, we went to dinner and we've been here since 5:30. Well, you know, sounds like a personal problem to me. Sorry, you know, about that. But, you know, they told us that we could, the guard said, take it up with the guard. He told us we could sit here. She says, fine. I hope that she grabs her stuff off the table. Fine. I hope the two of you really sit here, enjoy the seats, and enjoy the show. Now, go F yourselves. Go F yourselves. All loud. Meanwhile, everybody's standing around. They all loud and everything. So we kind of looked at them and, you know, as if to say, okay, as long as the N word don't come out, I'm all right with her telling us to go F ourselves because honestly, she's very sad. People at these casinos are just so sad. I mean, they're sad because they have nothing else to do. Does she really expect, the show started at 8 o'clock and it was already a little after 8. She'd been sitting and she'd saved these seats since 5:30, 5:30 to 6:30, 6:30 to 7:30. You're going to save the seats for over 2 hours? Give me a break. You didn't buy the seat. The seat is not assigned to you. So these people are cuckoo. They're in there. They're spending all their money. They're angry. Whatever their issues are, they have nothing else to do. I get it. But don't be taking it out on us. Listen, we go there. We eat dinner. And then if we find a seat, we find a seat. By the time the second part of the show starts, somebody's leaving because there's a lot of older people there. And they don't want to sit up past 10 o'clock. The other show doesn't start until 10. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting that we had to get cursed out. I'm not really king on casinos because I see people in wheelchairs, you know, people barely making it. They all look so sad. They lose all their money. I don't know if they mortgage off, they auction off their house. I don't know what they do, but it's not a very happy place unless you're winning. And the majority of the people don't win. So we go there for the free shows. I don't really go there to go doing any gambling or trying to win big or anything. Because listen, I don't have any money to be given to anybody. I'm going to just tell you that right now. So anyway, casino is also coming up to the Catskill Mountains where I used to work at Grossinger's Hotel, my fan. I used to work at Grossinger's Hotel from the time I was probably like 16. Every summer I worked at a hotel. Grossinger's, the Concord, Kutcher's, wherever. We did a lot of hotel work. So I did a lot of work in hotels, but now they're making it into a big casino. They've been looking for this casino to come into the this town that there's barely anything as it is. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just like it brings in a certain element. Yes, they do employ people. Let's hope that they employ people that's in the community because they're going to need it. But it also does other things. I don't know. I'm just not, I mean, you know, I don't have anything to say about them other than I don't gamble. I don't gamble. I don't really drink. You know, I go in for the shows, which I think is a good thing. But my ex-mother-in-law was a full-blooded Pequot. Indian. So we used to go up to, whatever that other one is up there. I can't even remember the name of it. The casino. It was dreadful. But the shows are good. I think that that's good. But, people, you're spending your money. The elderly, they get their Social Security checks. They hobble out of there, barely making it. I guess they go without eating. And I guess that's why sometimes they're putting, muffins and stuff in their purses when they go to an event, because I don't know. I think it's horrible. Everybody's looking for a quick way, to get rich quick. That's all I can say. And the casinos are probably not it, because your chances of winning is probably like the lottery. Anyway, let me get out of here. But you do have to survive, and I guess we have to do whatever we can do in order to survive. So the OJs are coming back. Okay. Like it, subscribe, tell people about it, help a sister out, okay? I'm just saying, okay? Next time we're going to talk about how sensitive some people are about certain things when people misinterpret things. You ain't heard it from me, because I ain't one to gossip, all right? Don't know nothing about this. Survival of the fittest. Survival. Wow, I gotta get with it. Ain't no joke when a man is broke, busted, walking around broke, and it ain't no trying to stay alive, living from day to day, living now. When I'm down to my last penny, looking for hope, I can't find it. Preservation. Looks like I have to do anything I can. Like this, subscribe, okay? Day out. Thought I was gone, didn't you? Fooled you. I'm back. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye now.